So one of the most commonly asked questions about supply chain is actually how to get a job in supply chain and what kind of jobs are there in supply chain. And that is exactly the topic for this week's video. Okay, so a really common question that I see on the internet is what kind of jobs are available in supply chain and how do I get a supply chain job? Now, if you're wondering why it's so noisy and why I'm looking particularly sweaty, you'll see a jeepney going past in a minute. I'm just with our support team in Davao in the southern Philippines. So we're talking about how do you get a job in supply chain, what types of jobs are available. Okay. So you need to think to begin with what kind of thing you want to be doing. So in terms of the sorts of jobs that are available, you can be doing finance in supply chain, you could be doing operations, so you might be working in a warehouse or in transport where you're dealing with people all the time. If you're a bit more of an engineering sort, you could be in solution design, say with a third-party logistics company. So think firstly, what kind of things you're into. Are you really numerate? Are you into analysis and dealing with numbers and finance, or do you want to be managing people? So that's probably the first thing to think about. The next question that people start to often consider is, do I need qualifications? And I probably get 5 or 6 emails every day saying, you know, what kind of qualifications should I get? Should I study for a degree? Should I do an APEX qualification? What I would say is, if you have the ability and the time and the money to do something, that's really good. You know, do a business degree, maybe with a supply chain focus. Finance is always really important too. If that's a little bit beyond you right now, maybe look at one of the certification courses. So APEX, for example, runs some really good courses. But at the end of the day, you know, there are entry-level positions that you can get into as well, and later on you can pick up the more formal qualifications. Ultimately, as you progress through your supply chain career, you're probably going to want to do a master's degree as well. Maybe, you know, a master's in supply chain itself, or maybe an MBA or something like that. So that's probably the second thing. So the third part of this commonly asked question is really about, where do I find the jobs? Oh, there's another jeepney going past. So yeah, entry points for supply chain career jobs. Obviously, you know, you can go through the formal process of talking to recruiting companies and headhunters and things like that. But to be honest, I think that's a bit of a numbers game. And unless you've got really good qualifications and good experience, it's very hard to stand out from the crowd. So what I always suggest to people is, number one, networking. So if there are any industry type events in your area, get out to those. There's always industry associations. You know, meet lots of people at those events. Tell them, you know, the sort of thing that you're looking to get into. Ask for their help. You know, what advice would you give me trying to start out, or what kind of roles do you think might suit me? Oh, was that one? There's all kinds of noises. It sounds like a siren. So that's the first one, networking. The second then thing is, you really got to put yourself out there and start marketing yourself as well. And probably the best platform to do that on is LinkedIn. I might do a whole video on LinkedIn, or I'm sure you can find other information on LinkedIn, on YouTube. But you really want to be putting your profile up there so that people can find you, making sure you put in all the keywords for the sort of work that you want to do. So LinkedIn definitely, getting out to events. And in terms of the sorts of businesses where you might be able to get a leg up, look, some of the really big FMCG companies are very good at taking on interns, so you know, that's an opportunity. A lot of them have graduate programs, so you know, those big companies have a lot of scope for you to grow, so you could get an entry-level position there. I always say to people, don't worry about what level you get in, just get in, start gaining some experience. And some of the best ways to do that are actually with 3PLs, so third-party logistics companies. Get in there and work as a warehouse picker. Doesn't really matter what you're doing, but you're getting into the industry, you're learning what goes on, and you're going to learn all kind of skills. So, you know, friends of mine have started out working on the warehouse floor, then they become supervisors, they then become warehouse managers, they then become logistics managers, supply chain managers, and so on. But obviously that's more on the operational side. But just getting your foot in the door, doesn't really matter too much what the role is. Get some exposure to the industry, that's the really important thing. So what are those three things that I had to recap on? First of all, think about the type of job that you want. Do you like analysis? Do you like working with numbers? You can do lots of that in supply chain. Do you want to work with people, managing people? So maybe that's in a more operational role. Are you more an engineering type? Do you want to work in a solution design type role? So that's that one. In terms of qualifications, if you've already got a degree or some sort of certificate, that's great. Maybe start on a program. If you haven't, that's always going to look good on your CV in an interview. And then finding that role is very much about networking, putting yourself out there on LinkedIn, and think about some of those entry-level roles that can get you into the industry as well. So look, it's a really commonly asked question. I hope some of that has helped. If you want some more tips, just comment below. And do remember, hit that subscribe button. We have a new video coming out every Wednesday, and that'll keep you up to date. Look forward to talking to you soon.